How do? It's Thursday between Christmas and New Year. I thought I'd come in for a couple of days. The wife's not very well. Nothing really much going on, so I thought I'd come in for a couple of days. So let me show you what I've done. So the engine and gearbox are on the chassis. Just on the actual rear mounts at the moment. I picked them up from a friend this week. Well, I say a friend, he is a friend, but obviously I had to pay for him. And I've just put the engine on a ratchet strap for now, until we know what we're doing. Because obviously the engine mounts are different on a 200 and 300. So I don't want to buy 200 mounts to fit this engine to then decide we're going 300, because he's going to think about it and let me know, because obviously there's still quite a bit of work to do to this. The A-bar, I had to cut most of the bolts off because they were just non-existent. The ball joint there is knackered, so I've got to get one of those and then fit that up. Tow bar doesn't fit. The holes for the top bolts that mount in the cross member, the lower ones, are too small, so I'd either have to drill that out for bigger bolts, which I could possibly do, but also the rear stays are different as well, so I'd have to change those. So we'll have to think about that, either look and see if a proper one comes up or modify that one. And then this chassis is ready to go to the scrap. It is horrendous. It is awful. I mean, it's had a patch there already, but the rest of it around that patch is knackered. It is horrid. It's bloated, it's patched, it's grotty. It just needs to go in the bin. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to call it a day for today. I'll probably come back tomorrow, get this on the trailer, ready to go off to scrap, and then spend the day on mine, I think. So I had a little play this morning. Hang on. I had to make a steering shaft because obviously the D2 steering column and the D1 Defender steering box have different ends. The D2 steering shaft is obviously the right size for the column, but too small for the steering box. And obviously a Defender Disco 1 is the right size of the steering box or the wrong size for the column. So I made a hybrid. So that's a D2 part and that's a D1 part. So we've chopped them off. It's just one security bolt and it just hooks over that pin. And we have put the other two bits from these together and obviously put an M6 in there with a nylock on the other side. So it will still operate as normal and it will still shear if the worst happens. So that's one way to fix it. The other way was to put a D2 steering box in, but I weren't going to bother doing that. So there is the Defender bottom end, and then it goes up to a Discovery 2. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Discovery 2 top. Yeah, there you go. And then hopefully you can see in that wiring down there, we have nut and bolted it. And it does look a bit, oh, I can't even focus on that. Oh, there you go. Because I did have to chop the bolt off because it was quite long. So I just locked it off just to make sure it wasn't going to catch or anything. But it still works, it should do. We won't have any issues with that. So, right, that's enough for tonight. Let's go home and then get back on it in the morning. Right, done a few bits today, namely put the power steering pulley back on. So that system is now done. I've bled the clutch, I've bled the brakes, I've put the new aerial mount on. And yeah, pumped it up as you can see so I could get around to all the brakes. Makes it a lot easier to get in there. I don't think I've done anything else today. I've just been pottering around, so right, come back another day. Morning all, it is Tuesday the 2nd of January, so the bits you've seen before this are obviously done between Christmas and New Year. So I'm just having a little potter about really. I want to try and get a bit further along this week. So I'm just trying to work out the main power line from the buzz bar to the fuse box. I had the original disco one that's supposed to go direct to the battery, obviously wasn't long enough, so I just joined it to another piece of cable just for testing purposes. So I thought I need to get a cable sorted out. So, because of the angle of it, let me show you. You should just be able to see that. They're right angled connectors. I couldn't find any online. So what I did was cut the one off the other wire, drilled a hole, put a stud on it. So now we can run a normal wire off to it. Again, this is just temporary. I need to put some new connectors on the end, but obviously that now comes out the fuse box fine. At the moment, it is just run around the back and goes onto the buzz bar. Again, I need to get connectors, so this is just for testing. I also need to move this clutch cable. I need to put it behind these and secure it to the bulkhead. But again, once all these cables come off for new connectors, that will just fit behind there, save me disconnecting anything now. I need to put a few Jubilee clips on. I have received the pipe for this. Unfortunately, I think it's slightly too short leg length. So I don't know yet. Really, it needs to be there. Oh, I'm not showing you, am I? It needs to be there. I can't trim this down anymore because that pipe is there. So this goes a long way on there before it turns. So I can't, I thought I'd be able to chop that down, move the whole lot closer, but I can't. So I'm going to see if I can either put a joiner in here to move the airflow meter along a bit, or whether we need to get think of something else. So anyway, right, I'm going to carry on pottering. Right, this is where we got to so far. Let's get rid of that. So we come out the turbo, round to the airflow meter, on the 45 to the air filter, and then off down because we need to match up with the snorkel, but I haven't got that connector yet. So we're there at the moment until we go further. I'm not sure if the air filter is going to be good enough, I'll be honest. It's an aftermarket one. It was fine on the 300, but obviously the TD5 is going to be a bit more, what should we say, asthmatic. It's going to need more air. So we'll just have to try, and then have to obviously change if we need to. I can always buy the original Defender pipe that goes here, meets the air box on the bulkhead and goes down to that. So I could always do that later, but for now we will just see if this is any good. But I need to make provision for this bit, this pipe into the hose, and also the map sensor, I believe that is. That obviously normally goes in the air box, so I need to make provision for that as well. So we shall see. Right, next job. Right, just checking the new boost pipes. They need a bit of adjustment when the right intercooler and radiator go on, but yeah, they're there. I managed to use the disco pipe upside down, this metal pipe, so that now clears everything. So that's one less pipe I've got by. I'm just hoping, obviously it is a tight fit because of the disco radiator and intercooler, but I'm hoping we'll get them in there, so at least I can leave the people feedback now. Right, I thought I'd put the front panel on today as well, just a dry run, just to make sure we're all right. I think the rad probably still needs to come down a touch. We just need to trim them feet a little bit more before we actually modify that one. So yeah, so I reckon all the new hose fits fine, sits perfectly where it needs to be, away from the pulley. Obviously the fan goes back on here and sits in this cowling. But I think it does need to go down a touch more. So what I'll probably do is take this panel back off, trim them down a bit, and then we'll go again. But unfortunately, when doing stuff like this, you've got to keep fitting stuff, removing it, fitting stuff, checking stuff, removing it. It's a bit like that. And I'd rather do it with this rad than the good one that's over there. So Right, let's whip this panel back off. And there we go, I chucked the intercooler on just to see. I'm hoping that one will still fit. It's a bit fatter. We have a bit of room, so we shall see. But fingers crossed. Right, that'll do for today. I'll come back tomorrow and carry on. Well, after being up here yesterday to remove my wanger because of the storm, we're back up today in the blue skies to put it back up. I never get tired of this view. Right, so while the fuse box mount is drying, well, while the primer's drying before I paint on it, I thought I'd just try this out. Now, I've got my PCO adapter there, so I thought, well, if you can pump tyres up, surely you can fill the compressor with it. So I've just put a double-ended PCL valve on it, and I'm going to use my big compressor to fill the tank. Keep using the battery on the car and the compressor that I've got in the back. So I've just rigged the gauge up, just to have a little, keep an eye on it basically. So I'll just wait for my big compressor to charge up, and then hopefully I should be able to pump the pressure into this tank and then do it that way. And then same sort of thing, if anything happens to the compressor out on the road, at least I can then use this to put air back in the compressor, sorry, back in the tank. So all little bits to try. I was going to try and put one of these Schrader valves underneath that and then connect. Foam on it just to make it all a bit tighter. but we'll do that. So that's one bit done. Now I've got to take the driver's seat out and do the driver's one. That's the bracket for the fuse box. You can't see it now because it's black, but it's painted black and bolted back on. We've done the side repeaters today, and we've done the under seat bits. I haven't taken the driver's seat out. I've just made the other one and put it in, and it's fine. I've ordered the tape. Oh, it's like a black hole in here. I've bought the tape on Amazon, so I've just got to wait for it to turn up. I mean, it doesn't really go anywhere, but it just gives it a bit more of a seal. I'll go all the way around and make it sealed. So, right. I think I'll call it there a day. No, call it there for a day. Oh, I don't know. I'll go home. I'll come back in the morning.